She went from a forgotten town in Slovenia to private jets, diamond gowns, and a $70 million fortune. But how did she build her empire in Trump's shadow? And what is she hiding? Let's take a look inside the millionaire life of Melania Trump. In the rolling hills of Slovenia, nestled beside the Sava River, lies the quiet town of Sevnica. Unremarkable the most, but it's here that one of the world's most enigmatic first ladies began her journey. Melania Naus wasn't born into royalty or wealth. Her father sold cars. Her mother stitched patterns for a local textile factory. Yet, from a young age, Melania stood out not for extravagance, but for her precision. Always impeccably dressed, always observant. Even her childhood friends recall how she moved differently, as if she was meant for a bigger stage. By 16, Melania had already set her sights far beyond Slovenia's borders. She began posing for local photographers, soon catching the eye of European modeling agents. But here's the twist. They told her no. Too classic, too poised, not edgy enough for the grunge-infused runways of the early 90s. Most would have faded back into obscurity. But Melania, she took rejection and transformed it into quiet determination. Signed first in Milan, then Paris, she learned early how to navigate a world fueled by beauty and power. She wasn't the loudest, she wasn't the wildest, but she understood something few models did: how to become indispensable. Her face became a blank canvas for designers. Chanel, Dior, Versace, all captivated not just by her look, but by her ability to adapt. They called her the industry's chameleon, effortlessly slipping between haute couture and commercial campaigns. And in 1996, she made the boldest move yet, leaving behind the glamour of Europe for the chaotic pulse of New York City. No family, no safety net, just ambition. Within years, her serene European elegance graced the covers of Vogue, GQ, Harper's Bazaar, a rare feat for an outsider. Her secret? A relentless control over her image. No scandals, no controversies, no distractions. By the late 90s, Melania had carefully constructed something far more valuable than fame: mystique. And in a city where everyone is desperate to be seen, she became the one people couldn't stop watching. New York City, 1998. The air thick with ambition, money, and desire. Fashion Week was in full swing, a magnet for the elite, where billionaires, supermodels, and power brokers collided under glittering chandeliers and whispered promises. It was at one of these exclusive soirees behind velvet ropes, champagne flutes in hand, that Melania Naus caught the eye of Donald Trump. The moment is now legend. Trump, already a tabloid regular, fixated on the tall, poised model across the room. Rather than approach her directly, he sent a bodyguard, a bold yet calculated move. The request? Her phone number. Melania's response? No. She refused. Twice. Not out of arrogance, but control. In a room where everyone sought validation, Melania did the unthinkable. She made Trump chase her. To some, it was a power play. To others, the first move in a high-stakes game between two individuals obsessed with image and influence. What followed was a courtship punctuated by tabloid headlines, red carpet appearances, and speculation. But beneath the glitz, Melania remained unshaken, always composed, always in control. In 2005, the world watched as they married in Mar-a-Lago, a wedding estimated at $2.5 million. The guest list? A constellation of celebrities, tycoons, and political heavyweights, including Oprah Winfrey, Bill and Hillary Clinton. Melania wore a $100,000 custom Dior gown, hand-embroidered with over 1,500 crystals, taking over 550 hours to complete. She didn't just walk down the aisle, she made a statement. Many dismissed her as a trophy wife, but those paying attention saw something else. A woman who had mastered the art of silent power. While Trump commanded the spotlight, Melania mastered the shadows, observing, calculating, never overplaying her hand. Their union wasn't just romance, it was an alliance. A fusion of beauty, wealth, and strategic ambition. January 20th, 2017. All eyes fixed on the steps of the US Capitol. Among the flurry of political fervor, headlines, and protest signs, there stood a woman cloaked in icy elegance. Melania Trump, stepping into history as the first foreign-born First Lady in over 2 centuries. But Melania didn't just inherit the title. She inherited the full weight of expectation, comparison, and relentless scrutiny. Every gesture, every outfit, every subtle glance became the subject of endless analysis. The media tried to decode her smiles, her silences, and while the world was captivated by her husband's bombastic personality, Melania's power was far quieter, calculated, deliberate, untouchable. Her fashion choices alone told a story. While others saw dresses, insiders saw diplomacy stitched into fabric. That sky blue Ralph Lauren ensemble at the inauguration? A nod to Jackie Kennedy. Yes, but also a masterclass in rebranding from Slovenian model to American icon. But Melania's reign as First Lady wasn't without scandal, and one jacket made sure of that. June 2018. Amidst one of the most controversial immigration policies in recent US history, the separation of families at the border, Melania visits a detention center. Cameras swarm, the world watches, and she steps out wearing a simple, olive green Zara jacket with a message scrawled across the back. I really don't care, do you? The uproar was immediate. Was it tone deaf? Was it a cryptic message to her critics? Or as some theorists suggest, a subtle shot at those within the very administration she stood beside? The truth? Only Melania knows, and that's precisely her power. Amid the chaos of Washington, she remained unshaken. No Twitter storms, no public meltdowns. She understood something others didn't. Mystique is mightier than noise. Even her signature initiative, Be Best, spoke volumes promoting child welfare, anti-cyberbullying campaigns. Admirable, yet paradoxical, considering her husband's digital antics. Critics labeled it hypocritical, supporters saw it as a quiet rebellion. But through it all, Melania's strategy was clear. Stay controlled, stay composed, stay above. She redefined the role of First Lady not by how much she spoke, but by how little. While the world dissected every detail, Melania played the long game, poised, polished, unreadable. While the world was fixated on skyscrapers bearing the Trump name, few noticed the empire Melania was quietly building brick by brick, gem by gem, bite by bite. Far from the flashing cameras and political firestorms, Melania Trump was crafting something far more personal, her own fortune. It began in 2010, not with real estate or politics, but with something deceptively simple: jewelry. She launched her exclusive line on QVC, America's favorite shopping channel. On the surface, it seemed modest, affordable elegance, classic designs. But those who understand branding saw it differently. Melania wasn't just selling necklaces, she was selling her image. Each piece reflected her signature style: understated luxury, accessible yet aspirational, an invitation to the public to own a piece of the polished, poised Melania mystique. But jewelry was only the beginning. Behind the scenes, Melania's true financial acumen revealed itself in real estate. While Donald dominated the Manhattan skyline, Melania made selective, strategic moves. A sprawling multi-level penthouse in Trump Tower, overlooking the glittering avenues of New York City. A private domain, lavishly adorned with 24-karat gold accents and panoramic views. Not just a home, but an asset that appreciates with every headline and market shift. Yet, her most intriguing investments lied not in New York, but in her homeland. Quietly, almost unnoticed, Melania has amassed properties in Slovenia, luxury apartments in Ljubljana, serene retreats tucked away in the countryside. Some say it's sentimental, a nod to her roots, but others whisper something else: a contingency plan, a financial foothold far from American chaos, anchored in a growing European market. And then, in true Melania fashion, she entered a space no one expected. 2021. While the world debated politics and headlines, Melania stepped into the uncharted waters of NFTs, digital assets, blockchain, the frontier of modern wealth. Her debut piece, Melania's Vision, a watercolor-like digital portrait accompanied by an audio message, sold for nearly $200,000. Many dismissed it as a novelty, Others saw the real play. In a market known for volatility, Melania positioned herself as more than a formal model or first lady. She was now a participant in the future of finance, a world where value is intangible, fast-moving, and decentralized. Some theorists even speculate, was this her move to carve independence? To distance herself financially and publicly from the towering shadow of her husband? One thing is certain. Where most live loudly, Melania moves quietly, calculating, diversifying. While the headlines scream, she builds an empire not shouted from rooftops, but embedded in contracts, property deeds, and encrypted code. It's not just wealth, it's control. For most people, luxury is something to aspire to. For Melania Trump, it's simply the baseline. Her world is paved in polished marble, her days punctuated by private chauffeurs and coat-tier fittings. But it's not just about wealth, it's about how she curates it, how every choice whispers control, precision, and status. Let's begin with her cars. Not just vehicles, but rolling statements of opulence. At the heart of her collection sits the Rolls-Royce Phantom, sleek, dignified, with an estimated price tag between $450,000 and $550,000. Each inch handcrafted, each detail carefully selected. The Spirit of Ecstasy hood ornament gleaming like a silent signature of understated dominance. Melania has been spotted arriving at high-profile events in this symbol of automotive aristocracy, always poised, always unbothered. But the Rolls is just the beginning. She also favors the Bentley Continental GT, a British masterpiece blending brute power with elegance. Priced upwards of $300,000, it's the kind of car that commands attention without asking for it much, like Melania herself. And then, there's a wild card in her fleet, the Porsche 911 Carrera. Sleek, fast, iconic. It adds a dash of adrenaline to her otherwise polished image. The perfect contradiction. Controlled exterior, untamed potential beneath the surface. Of course, there's the Cadillac Escapade, the SUV of American royalty. A vehicle that's less transportation, more fortress on wheels, customized to match the high security, high status lifestyle of a former first lady. But Melania's taste doesn't end at horsepower. Her true canvas is fashion. While other public figures change styles with the trends, Melania's wardrobe is a carefully orchestrated gallery of wealth and elegance. Every piece chosen, every stitch deliberate. Take, for instance, the Dolce & Gabbana coat she wore to the G7 summit in Sicily. Embroidered with vibrant florals, priced at a staggering $52,000, it wasn't merely outerwear, it was a diplomatic power move disguised as fashion. Her evening wear is no less breathtaking. Remember the Monique Lhuillier gown, valued at $8,000, that she wore at a formal White House event? A vision of lace, timeless silhouettes, and meticulous detail, always balancing grandeur with restraint. But here's the brilliance. Melania doesn't just wear clothes, she uses them. Every public appearance is a chess move, a message to allies, critics, and observers alike. Her wardrobe is not about excess, it's about reinforcing the image she's crafted so meticulously. Unreachable, untouchable, immaculate. In a world where wealth often screams, Melania's luxury doesn't shout, it speaks softly, and everyone listens. For someone who's lived in penthouses and palaces, surrounded by flashing cameras and relentless headlines, Melania Trump remains one of the most elusive figures of modern celebrity. While the world obsesses over her coat-tier gowns and her billionaire husband's bold declarations, Melania moves differently. She doesn't chase the spotlight, she curates her appearances. She knows exactly what to reveal, and more importantly, what to conceal. At the center of her carefully guarded world lies her greatest priority, Baron William Trump. Unlike many high-profile families who parade their children through the media, Melania took an entirely different approach. She built walls of privacy around Baron, shielding him from the public gaze, fiercely controlling what the world sees and knows. But behind closed doors, insiders paint a portrait of a mother who is meticulous, involved, and exacting. From an early age, Baron was not just the son of a billionaire, he was raised in an environment of discipline, elegance, and expectation. Melania personally oversaw his education, choosing the most private schools, with tuition fees surpassing $40,000 a year. But beyond academics, she instilled something deeper: culture. Fluent in Slovenian, Melania ensured Barron spoke her native tongue, a subtle but powerful tether to her heritage. While others saw her as the ultimate American First Lady, behind the scenes, she preserved her roots and passed them down. There's an old saying, the most powerful people are the ones you know nothing about. Melania seems to have taken this to heart. Even in the White House, amidst the most scrutinized family on the planet, she remained a mystery. Rare interviews, controlled smiles, eyes that gave little away. Some former staffers claim she would disappear for days at a time, refusing to be part of the media circus. Others suggest she was quietly the one keeping the Trump household balanced, acting as both shield and strategist. Her inner circle is notoriously tight. No leaks, no scandals, no best friends spilling secrets to tabloids. And perhaps most fascinating of all, despite the vast empire she inhabits, the titles, the wealth, the luxury. Melania seems untouched by the need to explain herself. It's intentional. It's by design. In a world where everyone is fighting to be seen, Melania Trump's greatest power is her silence. She doesn't have to shout to command attention. She simply exists perfectly polished, perfectly distant, leaving the rest of us wondering, what's really behind those guarded eyes? What does she know that no one else does? And is that perhaps the ultimate luxury, to be in total control of your story and yet tell almost none of it? In the world of wealth, true power isn't always in what's said, but in what's left unsaid. And no figure embodies this more than Melania Trump. For decades, she has lived in palaces of marble and gold, walked alongside presidents and billionaires, and adorned herself in diamonds and douar. Yet, despite being one of the most photographed women on the planet, we know remarkably little about her. This, of course, has led to theories, speculation, whispered questions that swirl behind closed doors in the same circles she inhabits. Theory number 1, the transactional marriage. Some insiders, former aides, society journalists suggest that Melania's marriage to Donald Trump was never purely about romance. Instead, they hint at something far more strategic, an alliance of influence, wealth, and image. With each renewal of Donald's business ventures and political aspirations, there are rumors of renegotiated prenups, and clauses that ensure Melania's financial independence remains intact, regardless of public storms. Not merely a trophy wife, but a partner who knows her value and protects it meticulously. Theory number 2, the invisible advisor. While the public watched Donald Trump dominate headlines, those closest to the family claim Melania's role behind the scenes may be far more significant. It's whispered that she was the calming force, the one with the keenest instincts, who carefully edited what reached the president's ear. She didn't need a formal political role. Her influence, they say, was exercised in private, quiet advice over dinner, measured reactions behind closed doors. Her silence wasn't absence, it was strategy. Theory number 3, the quiet exit strategy. Perhaps the most intriguing, her recent ventures into the world of NFTs, blockchain, and independent investments. While the Trump brand remains dominant in real estate and media, Melania seems to be positioning herself in a digital, borderless economy. Some speculate this isn't accidental. Could it be that Melania, ever the strategist, is quietly crafting an exit plan, ensuring her wealth, assets, and influence are untethered from the turbulence surrounding the Trump name? Theory number 4, the Slovenian connection. Then, there's her enduring link to Slovenia. While others assumed she left her homeland behind, Melania has maintained discreet property investments there. Not for nostalgia, some suggest, but for something far more calculated. A base outside the US, a personal sanctuary untouched by American media glare. It raises the question, is Melania Trump building a life few will ever see? In places no one's watching? Behind the couture gowns, behind the presidential dinners and the marble penthouses, there are details about Melania Trump that rarely make headlines, but reveal just how carefully crafted her persona truly is. Small facts, yes, but like fine jewelry, it's the subtle details that catch the light. Fact number 1, fluent in 5 languages. In a world where diplomacy is often filtered through translators, Melania stands apart.
She speaks Slovenian, English, French, German, and Serbian, effortlessly switching between them depending on the audience. It's not just a party trick, it's a symbol of adaptability, a tool of influence. When she walks into a room of global leaders, she doesn't just speak fashion or politics, she speaks their language. How many first ladies in history can claim that? Fact number 2. One of the tallest first ladies in history. Standing at 5 feet 11 inches, 1.80 meters, Melania towers quite literally over many of her predecessors. But it's not just her height that commands attention, it's how she carries it. Each public appearance carefully choreographed, posture perfect, chin lifted just so. Her physical presence has become part of the image. Elegant, untouchable, statuesque. Fact number 3. Only the second foreign-born First Lady. Do you realize that before Melania, only Louisa Adams, wife of President John Quincy Adams, shared this distinction? But while Louisa was born in 18th century London, Melania's roots trace back to post-communist Slovenia. Her journey from a small Eastern European town to the epicenter of American power is not just unusual, it's unprecedented. Fact number 4. A quiet humanitarian. Long before stepping into the White House spotlight, Melania dedicated years to humanitarian efforts. From 2005 to 2009, she served as a goodwill ambassador for the American Red Cross, supporting disaster relief and emergency response programs. Unlike others who flaunt their philanthropy, Melania's approach has always been understated. Intentional, quiet, impactful, mirroring her entire public persona. In a world obsessed with noise, headlines, and spectacle, Melania Trump has mastered the rarest art: power in silence. While others scramble for attention, she remains composed, a figure of elegance moving behind the curtain, carefully curating every detail of her life, every piece of her empire. Model, First Lady, businesswoman, but more importantly, a strategist who never reveals all her cards. Perhaps that's her greatest luxury. Not the diamonds, not the penthouses, not the designer gowns, but the fact that, to this day, no one truly knows where her story ends and where the myth begins. If you enjoyed this video about Melania Trump's luxurious life, you'll surely like this other video about the excessive and trillionaire lifestyle of her son, Baron Trump. Don't miss it!